Anurag, we're here at the HCLTech booth at MWC where you hosted a panel on enterprise wireless solutions yesterday. Can you just give us your main takeaways from that session?
Absolutely, Nick. First of all, good morning and thank you for this session. I think we spoke about convergence of telco, semiconductor, and the tech coming together for HCLTech and for the industry. I think private 5G is a perfect example where we're taking these technologies together to various verticals and the use cases that we're looking at for large enterprises. That's the key takeaway.
That's great. And we're going to talk about observability. So just to start with, how is observability going to help improve customer experience and network performance in the telco?
I think observability, Nick, is a very important topic in the industry today. And if you really look at, there are two dimensions of it. One is, the telco cloud and the data center, the backend infrastructure that exists today is becoming very complex. And it used to be on-prem, it is now moving into a hybrid cloud environment. And, there is a significant opportunity for us to, use the data available to make the right decisions. That's number one. The second thing that we are really looking at is also a great opportunity where there are multiple engineering labs which are owned by our customers and partners, both OEMs and the service providers. And they're looking at, reducing their cost of operations, increasing their feature velocity, and really making it a lab as a service so that the enterprises and the end customers can come in and use it. I think observability is a key fundamental element of making this happen.
And with the emergence of AI-driven networks, what's that going to mean for observability in the telecom industry?
Yeah, if you don't talk about AI, nothing is complete today. But I would say that from observability point of view, I think the most essential part of AI or Gen AI is the ability to correlate the data real time and make the right insightful decisions for having more meaningful business related actions so that there are outcomes that we can derive. I think AI is going to play a very, very important role from moving into a very reactive way of operating the network and the infrastructure to a very proactive way, and then eventually leading to the autonomous networks that all of us are talking about.
So how are telecom operators leveraging full stack observability to enhance agility and resilience?
Okay, so I think, again, this is a very important aspect, Nick, that you're asking. If you look at from a telco perspective, there are multi dimensions to a network that we have. So there are different layers of the stack. There are different layers of technologies which are involved today when we look at the DevSecOps or the SRE model, or if you really look at the way we resolve a problem that is reported from the field. It's very different from what it used to happen 5 years or 10 years ago. So if we look at this both horizontal and the vertical cut of the network, I think observability needs to be present at each layer. And it needs to not only collect data at an individual layer and a component level, but it has to come together. And I think that's the key. The correlation of the data to create meaningful insights, I think is the most important aspect that we are working on. And hopefully this will give way to the right modern networks that we're looking for.
So would you say correlating that data is a challenge for telcos?
I think it is. There are a couple of reasons for that. The first is that there are a lot of legacy systems that we still have deployed in the field, as well as in our engineering labs. And many of these legacy systems do not have those open interfaces or do not have that disaggregated intelligence in the software that runs in these devices. So this is not something that we can change overnight. But it's a very encouraging to see that a lot of modern architectures which are emerging are taking care of these software principles. So I think in the times to come, we will have a much more robust and I would say a predictive mechanism that can be built in place to create. And observability is just the first fundamental step towards autonomous networks. Unless you observe, unless you first detect what is your as a state, you're never going to know what will be the end state. So I think that is why this is extremely important.
So finally, you mentioned that observability is the first step towards realizing autonomous networks. Can you outline that path for us?
Yes, I think, Nick, this is again a very important aspect that you are raising. Is the first step is to identify and assess the point A, and to observe what is the utilization of the resources, what is the capacity, what is the trend looking like, and how what are the areas where we're seeing problems is the first step of the journey. The next step really is to create a blueprint of where do we want to go, how much time it's going to take, and what are the different mechanisms of doing it. I think AI will play a very important role for us to actually go from point A to point B. And I would say the third and the penultimate phase is to really assess, have we reached the goal that we define. And once again, Gen AI is going to play a very important role for us to identify whether we have made those incremental milestones correctly, and then do a closed loop back correction. And as I said in the beginning, I think we as an organization are looking this to be a great opportunity with all these telecom domain knowledge, the underlying platform knowledge, as well as the vertical knowledge that we have for enterprises, all coming together with the tech stack to achieve this goal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.